Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Today we're tackling mastery, and we're going to be using Robert Greene's book Mastery as our guide.
Yeah.
We're also going to be looking at some real-life examples of people who have achieved those top levels of skill and knowledge. So I think our goal is to give people some insights that they can take away and use on their own journey towards mastery.
Yeah, that's right. And the book kind of dives right in. It lays out a framework called the ideal apprenticeship.
Okay.
And it might sound formal, but really the beauty of it is that it applies to almost anything you want to master.
Sure.
Whether it's, a creative skill or a technical field or even mastering your own mindset.
Okay, so let's unpack that ideal apprenticeship.
Go.
What are the key takeaways here for the listener?
Well, Greene emphasizes that the goal isn't just about collecting accolades or degrees.
Right.
It's about transforming yourself in the process. And that transformation happens in 3 distinct phases.
Right.
Starting with deep observation.
So like being a detective.
Exactly.
But for your own skills.
It's about immersing yourself in the environment.
Okay.
Paying attention to details that others might miss. Like unspoken rules, power dynamics.
Yeah.
Even subtle cues from experts.
This reminds me of Charles Darwin's voyage on the Beagle.
Yeah.
He wasn't even supposed to be the naturalist on board.
Right.
But he just used that time to observe everything from the tiniest insects to the vastness of the ocean.
Yep.
And that's what led him to his theory of evolution.
Precisely. Darwin's journey highlights the importance of going beyond surface level observation.
Yeah.
He was actively trying to understand the why behind what he saw.
Right.
And that's what led to his insights. So think about your own field.
Okay.
What are the things you could be observing more deeply?
That's a great point. And it leads perfectly into the next stage, skills acquisition. It's all about practice, right?
It is. This is where you shift from being a passive observer to actively honing your skills.
Okay.
Think of it like a sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone.
Right.
Gradually shaping it into their vision. Or, to use a more modern analogy, think of it like training an AI model.
Okay.
You feed it data, and with each iteration, it becomes more accurate and efficient.
So like Edison tirelessly experimenting in his lab.
Absolutely. Edison's story is a great example of how consistent, dedicated practice can lead to mastery.
Yeah.
There's this fascinating thing that happens in our brains when we practice.
Okay.
With repetition, the neural pathways associated with that skill literally become more efficient, shifting to areas of the brain better suited for that task.
That's incredible. So it's like building a mental highway for that specific skill.
Exactly.
The more you use it, the smoother and faster the traffic flows.
But it's not just about mindless repetition.
Okay.
The third stage, experimentation, is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
This is where you start testing limits, taking risks, and seeing what works and what doesn't.
So it's like having all the ingredients for a delicious cake, but then experimenting with different combinations and baking techniques.
I love that analogy.
To create something truly unique.
Think of architect Santiago Calatrava.
Okay.
He blends engineering and artistry in his buildings, constantly pushing boundaries. He's not afraid to experiment with new materials, shapes, and construction methods, which leads to those awe-inspiring structures.
Calatrava's buildings are definitely in a category of their own.
Yeah.
This idea of pushing boundaries makes me think about the role of mentors.
Yeah.
How do they fit into this whole ideal apprenticeship framework?
Mentors. They are crucial.
Right.
Having someone who's already walked the path can accelerate your learning tremendously. But Greene emphasizes that choosing the right mentor for you is essential. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
That makes sense. You need someone who can guide you, but also someone who aligns with your goals and learning style.
Right.
It's like finding the right coach for an athlete. Someone who understands your strengths, weaknesses, and aspirations.
Exactly. And Greene identifies several types of mentor dynamics.
Okay.
The first one he calls the good parent.
Okay.
Think of architect Frank Lloyd Wright's relationship with Louis Sullivan.
Okay.
Sullivan was a supportive mentor who encouraged Wright to develop his own unique style.
Right.
While subtly pushing him beyond his comfort zone.
So a good mentor provides a balance of support and challenge.
Yeah.
Pushing you to become the best version of yourself. But what about those mentors who are a bit more demanding?
Yes. The bad parent dynamic.
Okay.
This is where the mentor's guidance, while potentially valuable, can also be restrictive. A classic example is Mozart's relationship with his father, Leopold. While Leopold's rigorous training undoubtedly contributed to Mozart's early virtuosity, it also stifled his creative freedom and created a deep sense of resentment.
So finding a mentor who strikes that delicate balance between guidance and freedom is key.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that even the bad mentors should be a stepping stone, not a crutch. The ultimate goal is to internalize their knowledge, adapt it, and eventually surpass them. Forging your own unique path. Greene calls this process transfiguration.
Transfiguration is like taking the raw materials a mentor provides and then transforming them into something entirely new and expressive of your own vision.
Exactly.
But to do that effectively, you need another crucial element, social intelligence. How does that come into play?
This is where we move beyond the technical skills and delve into the human element of mastery. It's about understanding people, reading social cues, and navigating complex relationships. Mastering the art of communication and influence.
So it's like leveling up your people skills.
It is. And Greene argues that this is often where people stumble. He talks about the naive perspective, which is basically the tendency to see the world solely through our own lens, without considering other perspectives. This can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and missed opportunities.
So it's like assuming everyone sees the world the same way we do.
Exactly.
Which can lead to all sorts of problems.
And Greene uses Benjamin Franklin as a prime example of someone who mastered social intelligence. He was incredibly skilled at reading people, understanding their motivations, and tailoring his communication accordingly. He even used his social savvy to turn potential enemies into allies.
He must have been a master networker.
He was. But it wasn't just about charm. Franklin had a deep understanding of human nature. He practiced empathy deliberately, considering the other person's perspective, which allowed him to build trust and navigate complex social situations.
That's incredible. So it's not just about being likable. It's about genuinely understanding and connecting with people.
Exactly. And Franklin also understood the importance of what Greene calls crafting an appropriate persona, which is basically tailoring your outward image and communication style to suit different environments and audiences.
So like understanding the unwritten rules of social engagement.
Precisely.
And adapting accordingly.
A great example of this is artist Teresita Fernandez. She's a successful artist in a field that's historically been dominated by men. Fernandez learned to navigate those expectations masterfully, crafting a persona that commanded respect while challenging stereotypes.
That's such a powerful example of using social intelligence to not only succeed, but also to break down barriers.
Exactly.
But I'm curious, how does all of this tie into the creative process?
I mean, we've talked about observation practice, mentors, and social skills. But what about that spark of ingenuity?
That's where Greene introduces the concept of awakening the dimensional mind. It's about cultivating that childlike curiosity and openness to new ideas. A stark contrast to the limitations of what he calls the conventional mind.
So it's like tapping into that inner child who's constantly asking why.
Exactly.
And exploring the world with fresh eyes.
And Greene emphasizes the importance of nonverbal intuitive thinking. Using the example of Albert Einstein, who famously used thought experiments and visual imagery to solve complex problems.
So it's not just about logic and reason, but about embracing a more holistic way of thinking.
Precisely.
That incorporates intuition, imagination, and even a bit of playfulness.
And it's about being open to serendipity, to those chance encounters and unexpected discoveries that can lead to breakthroughs. Think of Louis Pasteur.
Who accidentally stumbled upon the concept of inoculation while studying chicken cholera.
So sometimes the greatest discoveries happen when we least expect them. Just by being curious and open to new possibilities.
Greene encourages us to combat mental rigidity by cultivating what he calls negative capability. Sounds a bit intimidating. It's basically the ability to withhold judgment, to embrace uncertainty, and to allow ourselves to be surprised by what we might find.
So it's like resisting that urge to immediately categorize and label everything we encounter. Giving our minds space to explore different perspectives and possibilities.
And he also talks about the importance of what he calls alternating the mind through the current.
Okay.
This involves shifting between intense focus and periods of relaxed awareness.
Right.
Much like Charles Darwin, taking deliberate breaks from his research to allow his mind to wander and make connections.
So it's like giving our minds permission to take a break.
Exactly.
To daydream.
Right.
To play, knowing that those seemingly unproductive moments can actually lead to some of our most creative breakthroughs.
Exactly. And Greene is quick to point out that mastery is rarely a solitary pursuit. It's a collaborative process building upon the work of those who came before us and sharing our discoveries with others. He cites Johann Wolfgang von Goethe as a prime example of this continuous expansion into new fields. Always learning, always collaborating, always pushing boundaries.
Goethe's life is truly inspiring. He was a writer, scientist, artist, and statesman, constantly seeking new knowledge and challenging himself.
And his story highlights a crucial point. Mastery is not destination, but an ongoing journey. It's about deepening your skills, expanding your knowledge, and constantly adapting to new challenges.
It's like that saying, life is a journey, not a destination.
Precisely.
But applied to the pursuit of mastery.
And this idea of lifelong learning is beautifully illustrated in the work of V.S. Ramachandra. His groundbreaking research on phantom limb patients and his discoveries about brain plasticity highlight the incredible adaptability of our minds.
So it's like saying our brains are constantly evolving, rewiring themselves and forging new connections throughout our lives.
Ramachandran's work is a testament to the fact that we're never too old to learn, to grow, and to push the boundaries of our understanding.
This deep dive has been packed with insights already, but I'm curious, where do we go from here? If mastery is a journey, not a destination, what's the next step for our listeners?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The beautiful thing is the journey to mastery starts with something you're already doing. Noticing what truly captivates you.
Like that spark of excitement you get when you stumble upon a new topic or skill.
It might not be a huge aha moment. Sometimes it's more like a quiet nudge. A recurring interest you can't shake off. Think about young Michael Faraday, who was totally captivated by electricity after reading a simple science book. That spark led him to become one of the greatest scientific minds in history.
It's amazing how those seemingly small events can have such a huge impact. It makes you realize the importance of paying attention to those moments when you feel that genuine curiosity and excitement.
Absolutely. But it's not enough to just notice those interests. You have to actively cultivate them. Think of Zora Neale Hurston, who was determined to become a writer. She basically created her own self-directed apprenticeship, seeking out knowledge and experiences wherever she could find them. She even went back to high school at the age of 25 to get the education she craved.
Hurston's story is so inspiring. It reminds us that it's never too late to pursue our passions and that we don't always need a formal structure to learn and grow.
And her relentless pursuit of knowledge, even in the face of obstacles, reinforces what Greene says about the apprenticeship phase. It's not just about acquiring a skill. It's about transforming yourself, becoming more resilient and adaptable, and opening yourself up to new possibilities.
So it's like building that mental muscle. That ability to embrace challenges and keep pushing forward.
And remember, this transformation is a continuous process. It's not a one-time event. Think about Yoki Matsuoka, who was initially drawn to robotics, but later delved into neuroscience to deepen her understanding of the human hand. That's mastery in action. Constantly expanding your knowledge and skills. Even venturing into seemingly unrelated fields to gain a richer perspective.
It's like weaving a tapestry.
I love that analogy.
Pulling threads from different disciplines and experiences to create something richer and more intricate.
But we have to acknowledge that the path to mastery isn't always easy. What happens when we hit a wall? What do we do when those inevitable challenges arise?
That's where mentors come in, right?
Precisely.
Having someone who's already walked the path can provide invaluable guidance and support, especially during those difficult times.
But as we've seen with Mozart and his father, not all mentor relationships are created equal. Remember, Greene talked about the good parent versus the bad parent dynamic and how those relationships can either propel us forward or hold us back.
So it's about finding a mentor who not only has the knowledge and expertise, but also the right approach to guide and support you in a way that aligns with your needs and goals.
A good mentor is like a Sherpa guiding you up a mountain.
Okay.
They know the terrain.
Right.
They can anticipate challenges, and they can help you navigate those tricky paths. But ultimately, you have to do the climbing yourself.
It's about striking that balance between learning from their experience and developing your own sense of independence and self-reliance.
Exactly. Remember Frank Lloyd Wright's journey?
Yeah.
He initially apprenticed under a more traditional architect.
Okay.
Before finding his true mentor in the visionary Louis Sullivan.
Right.
It highlights the fact that sometimes you need different mentors at different stages of your journey.
Right.
Depending on where you are and where you want to go.
So it's like having different teachers throughout your life.
I love that way of thinking about it.
Each one providing a unique perspective and set of skills that help you along the path.
But even with the best mentors in the world, you won't get far without developing your social intelligence.
Right.
It's not just about being charming or likable.
Okay.
It's about understanding the nuances of human interaction.
Right.
Reading people accurately.
Yeah.
And navigating those sometimes tricky social dynamics.
So it's like having that extra sense that allows you to connect with people on a deeper level.
Precisely.
To understand their motivations. And to build relationships that are both personally and professionally rewarding.
And this is a skill that can be developed just like any other skill.
Right.
Remember Benjamin Franklin?
Yeah.
He wasn't born a social butterfly.
Right.
He honed his social intelligence through deliberate practice and observation.
Okay.
Studying people, experimenting with different communication styles, and constantly learning from his interactions.
His story is a great example of how social intelligence can be learned and developed. It's not some innate quality that you either have or don't have. It's a set of skills that can be practiced and refined over time.
Exactly. And it's not just about networking or schmoozing.
Right.
Social intelligence is crucial for collaboration, conflict resolution, and creating a positive and productive environment for yourself and those around you.
So it's like having a superpower.
I love that.
That allows you to navigate the complexities of the human world with grace, empathy, and understanding.
Now let's talk about unlocking your creative potential.
Okay.
Remember Greene's concept of the dimensional mind?
Yes. It's about tapping into that innate creativity we all have.
Exactly.
That ability to think outside the box and see the world with fresh eyes.
It's about cultivating a mindset that embraces curiosity, experimentation, and a willingness to challenge conventional thinking. Think of Albert Einstein, who used thought experiments and visualization to unlock groundbreaking scientific discoveries. He didn't just follow the rules. He questioned them. Imagined new possibilities. And in doing so, revolutionized our understanding of the universe.
Einstein's story is a powerful reminder that our minds are capable of incredible things when we allow ourselves to think differently, to break free from those limiting beliefs and embrace a more expansive view of what's possible.
Exactly. And it's not just about embracing abstract concepts. There are practical strategies you can use to cultivate your dimensional mind. Remember Greene's advice about alternating the mind.
Yes. It's about shifting between periods of intense focus.
Precisely.
And relaxed awareness.
It's like taking your mind for a walk in nature.
Sometimes
the best ideas come when you're not actively searching for them. When you allow your mind to relax and explore different paths.
It's like giving your subconscious mind permission to play.
Exactly.
Knowing that those moments of playfulness can lead to some of your most creative breakthroughs.
And remember, mastery is not a solitary pursuit. We learn from others. We build upon the work of those who came before us. And we share our discoveries to inspire and enlighten future generations.
It's like joining a relay race.
I love that.
Each runner passing the baton to the next, carrying the torch of knowledge and innovation forward.
Now remember V.S. Ramachandran, the neuroscientist we talked about earlier. His work is a powerful reminder that mastery is an ongoing process of learning, growth, and adaptation.
It's about embracing a mindset
that
sees every experience, every challenge, every success as an opportunity to learn and evolve.
And this brings us to an important question. What happens when we reach a point where we've mastered our craft? What happens when we achieve a level of expertise that few can match.
That's a great question. It's like asking what's next after you've climbed Mount Everest. Is there another mountain to climb?
That's where the real journey begins. It's tempting to think of mastery as a finish line.
Right.
But Greene cautions us against that mindset. He talks about the dangers of becoming complacent, letting ego take over, and ultimately losing that spark that drove us in the first place.
So reaching a high level of skill isn't a guarantee of staying there.
Absolutely.
There are pitfalls to watch out for.
One of the biggest dangers is what Greene calls the disease of familiarity. It's that sneaky feeling of complacency that can creep in when we become too comfortable with our skills.
Right.
Think about the jazz saxophonist John Coltrane.
Yeah.
He achieved incredible technical mastery. But he struggled to find his own unique voice early in his career. He kept mimicking the styles of other musicians, almost like he was trapped in a cycle of imitation instead of forging his own path.
So even when you're really good at something, you can still get stuck in a rut.
Exactly.
It's a reminder that mastery is not a static achievement, but a dynamic process. You have to constantly challenge yourself, seek out new influences, experiment with new techniques, and find ways to keep pushing your boundaries. Otherwise, you risk becoming a prisoner of your own expertise.
That's a great point. It's like the difference between being a technician and a true artist.
Exactly.
A technician can replicate a technique flawlessly. But an artist takes those skills and uses them to express something unique and meaningful. And another pitfall to watch out for is the trap of ego. It's easy to let success inflate our sense of self-importance, which can make us resistant to feedback, blind to our own weaknesses, and ultimately less open to learning and growth.
It's like that saying, it's lonely at the top. If you surround yourself with yes men and shut out constructive criticism, you risk losing touch with reality.
Greene uses the example of Mozart to illustrate this point. Now, Mozart was undoubtedly a genius, but his early fame and success created a sense of entitlement that made it difficult for him to handle criticism. This, in part, contributed to his struggles later in life.
So even someone as gifted as Mozart could fall victim to the pitfalls of ego. It's a reminder that maintaining a sense of humility is crucial no matter how much you achieve.
Humility is key. It allows you to stay open to learning, to acknowledge your mistakes, and to constantly strive for improvement. Remember, mastery is not about achieving some state of perfection. It's about embracing the journey with all its ups and downs. And using each experience as an opportunity for growth.
It's like being a lifelong student, always curious. Always eager to learn, always seeking new challenges and perspectives.
And it's important to remember that the path to mastery is not always a straight line. There will be detours, setbacks, and moments of doubt.
So it's not about avoiding those challenges, but about learning to navigate them effectively. And using them as fuel for growth.
It's about developing resilience, adaptability, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. Because ultimately, the greatest rewards come not from reaching the destination, but from the journey itself.
This deep dive has been incredibly insightful. We've explored the key principles of mastery, the potential pitfalls to avoid, and the ongoing nature of the journey. As we wrap up, I want to leave our listener with a final thought. If mastery is truly a journey, not a destination, what small step can you take today to move closer to that ideal? What new skill can you explore? What knowledge can you seek out? What challenge can you embrace that will push you beyond your comfort zone and help you discover new depths of understanding and ability?
That's the question to ponder. Mastery isn't reserved for a select few. It's a path open to anyone willing to take that first step to embrace the challenge and to embark on a lifelong journey of learning and growth.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of mastery. We hope you've been inspired to embark on your own unique journey of growth and discovery